Hey y'all, welcome back to Fat Kid Yoga Club. It's day 6 of our back to school yoga challenge. It's Friday. I'm feeling a little funky, and so today I'm going to be offering you a little bit of a flow to find your edge. And so we're going to have 2 different options. Actually, there's going to be several postures that you can practice today. But I'm going to offer you 2 different sequences that lead to a balanced posture. And so I'm going to encourage you to watch this whole video first and then decide which postures you are going to practice. And it might be helpful to have some blocks or a chair available, and it may even be helpful to have some clear wall space for you to practice with. And so, like I said, watch the video, see what maybe is going to work for you, and then, of course, leave a comment after you've practiced and let me know what it is that you went with today. For our first posture, you may not need your chair or your blocks. You may want to practice with a wall or a chair if you're feeling a little bit wobbly today, but we're going to start with Warrior 1, Virabhadrasana 1. And for Warrior 1, I like to start in mountain pose with hands on my hips. And from here, I'm going to step back with the right foot. And you can keep the front leg, in this case the left leg, as straight as you need. But maybe we bend into the left knee any amount. And hands on hips just makes me feel stable, so that's why I keep them here until I feel like I'm good. And you could just hang out here. This could be fun for you today. But I want to activate this a little bit more. So I'm going to begin to draw the left thigh back, press through the right heel. And from here, maybe we inhale, taking arms up overhead. Maybe hands stay at heart. You decide. Seeing if you can find a sensation of the chest lifting, but the ribs also gathering together. Full inhales. Full exhales, however long it feels good to be here. As you're ready, I bring hands to hips and step up to the top. And of course, you want to do the other side as well. And noticing maybe 2 sides are different today, they probably are. And once you feel like you've done both sides sufficiently, we'll head to the next posture. And so here's where it may be helpful to have a chair or some yoga blocks available. I'll show you how to do this with the chair. It would be very similar if you had yoga blocks. So from here we're going to come to mountain pose. We're going to inhale, rising. Exhale, we're going to fold forward. Hands can come to your chair. And you can hang out here in a forward fold for a breath or 2 if that feels good for you. But we're actually going to head to Parsvottanasana. So I'm going to step back with my right foot, not all the way back, but about 3/4 of the way back. And I'm going to come down to the sole of the back foot. And I'm going to bring the chair a little bit closer to my body. And you'll notice that my left leg is mostly straight. And in Parsvottanasana, we're coming into a forward fold. Our front leg is moving towards straight. It's okay to have a little bend in the knee, but it is not a high lunge where we would be bending all the way into the knee. And as you arrive, you might already be finding some stretch down that left hamstring. You might want to activate this a little bit, so maybe we draw the left thigh up into the hip point. Maybe we press through the right heel. And seeing here if you can continue to find the chest lifting. This is a really nice stretch down the back of my leg. And we'll make our way back up to the top, and we'll switch sides. So just stepping back now with the left leg any amount. And same thing, both sides. We want to be even today. Finding the right thigh drawing up into the hip point. It's okay to have a little bend in the back of the right knee. And so if you're someone who's got the tendency to lock out your knee, maybe find your calf pressing forward into the shin And then also drawing the thigh bone up into the hip point. Ooh, this right side is so much tighter than the left was. As you're ready, we'll step up to the top, slowly come back up to stand. My hair's a mess, y'all. I need to get a haircut soon, but I do not want to go to the barber. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to move the chair and I'm going to use the blocks for the next step. For those of you that want to see how this might go if you had blocks instead. But you could also do this with the chair. Okay folks, so I've got my blocks and I'm going to put them at the top of my mat. And just to let you know, we're going to head through Parsvottanasana to a standing half split, and then also have the option to practice Warrior 3, Virabhadrasana 3. So let's get into it. Starting again in mountain pose, we'll inhale to rise, exhale folding forward. We inhale coming halfway up. We're going to exhale stepping back with the right foot, coming to the sole of the right foot, and we'll walk our blocks to be in line with the front foot. And so here we could stay in Parsvottanasana. So I've got a little bend in the back of the left knee, drawing the left thigh up into the hip point. I could stay here. Or I could begin to walk the blocks just to maybe a few inches out in front of the foot, coming to the ball mound of the right foot, shifting forward, keeping hands on blocks, and lifting the back leg any amount. So this is our half split, and maybe you stay here. If you're feeling adventurous, maybe you try to bring hands to heart. Maybe you take arms out wide, or maybe you even try arms overhead for Virabhadrasana 3. As you're ready, hands return to blocks. We gently return the foot to the mat, step up to the top, and rise. Coming back to mountain pose. And I'm a little bit lopsided, so make sure you do two sides. I do want to show you an alternative in case the idea of heading towards that half split or Virabhadrasana 3 is not going to work for you. So I'm going to bring my chair back. Okay, so I'm going to do this standing on my left foot. Hands are going to come to hips. And I'm going to lift the right leg and let the heel rest on my chair. And from here, hands could be at heart, they could be at our hips, or they could be up overhead. So this is a very similar shape to Virabhadrasana 3. But this is maybe a little bit more of an example of Uttita Hasta Padangusthasana. Right? So our Uttita Hasta Padangusthasana, that's a lot to say. That's our hand to big toe pose, right? But it's very similar in shape. And so you can play with that. So let's look at what it might be like if we put all of that together, and I'm going to have my blocks for that. So from here, I'm going to start with Virabhadrasana 1. So I step back with the right foot. I inhale, rising up. My exhale, I'm going to bring hands down to blocks, straightening the front leg, any amount. I'll begin to walk the blocks forward, stepping the back foot in, lifting the right foot any amount. Hands come to heart or overhead. Heart is feeling good for me now. I'm a little wobbly today. When you're ready, releasing, stepping up to the top. Inhale, rising. Exhale, hands to heart. Continuing, we inhale, rising. Exhale, we fold forward. Inhale brings us halfway up, and the exhale steps us back with the left foot. We're going to rise up into Virabhadrasana 1. The exhale brings us back down, straightening the front leg any amount. And then you decide, are you going to come and try the half split? Are you going to try Warrior 3? I think I'm staying in half split on this side. I'm wobbly today, y'all. When you're ready, releasing, stepping to the top, and rising. And so that's option number 1. A little flow with Warrior 1, Parsvottanasana, and maybe Warrior 3. Our second option is going to include Warrior 2, triangle pose, and maybe half moon. So let's take a look at what that might be. Starting with Warrior 2, I'm not going to use my blocks yet, but they're nearby. I take my feet to a wide leg stance. I'm going to inhale, picking up the right toes, spinning them off to the right, pivoting on the back foot any amount, pressing down through the ball mound of the right foot, lifting the inner right thigh, bending into the right knee any amount, adjusting your clothes if you need. Maybe you open the arms wide, Warrior 2. Maybe a few breaths here, finding that work, pressing down through the ball mound of the front foot, lifting the inner right thigh, and breathing. As you're ready, you can straighten the leg, square the feet, and we got one more side. So our inhale picks up the left toes, spins them off to the left, pivoting on the back foot as you need, bending into the left knee when you're ready, Warrior 2. And our work here is to protect this left knee. So we want to lift the inner left thigh, press down through the ball mound of the left foot. And you can stay here for as long as feels comfortable. When you're ready, we'll straighten the leg, square the feet, and maybe you like to step the feet together, wiggle out the hips. And from here is where I'm going to do a little bit of work with my blocks. So setting up for triangle pose is very similar to how we set up for Warrior 2. And so I'm going to be in my wide leg stance. I'm going to inhale, picking up the right toes, spinning them off to the right, pivoting on the back foot. I'm going to press down through the ball mound of the right foot, lifting the inner right thigh, but also drawing that right thigh into the hip point. And you'll notice that I'm already beginning to tip over. And we're going to use that for our triangle. So the more we draw that right thigh up into the hip point, the farther we can reach. Maybe your hand finds your mat. I need a block. And so in triangle pose, the top arm can be reaching up towards the ceiling, could be resting on the hip. But again, our work here is pressing down through the ball mound of the front foot, lifting the inner right thigh, and drawing that thigh up into the hip point. And it's okay to have a little bit of a bend in the back of the knee as well, but working towards straight. And we'll make sure that we do both sides. I like to come up through Warrior 2, straighten the leg, square the feet. And I'm going to shimmy this way a little bit so that I'm not hitting the palm tree. As we're ready, setting up and finding your triangle pose. Left side, breathe, breathe, breathe. Find your work, press down through the ball mound of the left foot, lift the inner left thigh, draw that thigh up into the hip point. Slowly coming back up, square the feet, step the feet together. Whew, y'all, I'm sweating. It is so humid today, and I made the mistake of taking a really hot shower this morning, so I'm just going to be dripping, I think, for the rest of the day. Such is life in Louisiana. All right, so we're going to head towards half moon, and I'm going to show that to you in two ways. The first way will be only using my blocks, and the second way I'm going to show you that is with the support of the wall. So let's take a look. So we're going to start. I'm going to keep my block in my hand for this just because it's helpful for me. So I'm holding on to my block. I'm going to inhale, picking up the right toes, spinning them off to the right, pivoting on the back foot. Setting up first for Virabhadrasana 2, so pressing through the ball mound of the right foot, lifting the inner right thigh, bending into the knee any amount. Right? And I'm holding my block, y'all. It looks goofy, but you'll see why. Maybe you like to inhale, reversing. Exhale, coming back to Warrior 2. We're going to straighten the front leg, press down through the ball mound of the foot, lift the inner right thigh, draw that thigh up into the hip point a lot. We begin to reach, reach, reach. Hand comes down. And I'm hoping I can stay in the frame when I do this. After triangle, we begin to bend any amount into the right knee, stepping the left foot back in. Ooh, wobbly today, y'all. The block gives us a little support as we lift the back leg, finding half moon Ardha Chandrasana. I wonder if I decapitated myself. I'll see in editing. As you're ready, slowly dropping out, rising up. Please don't drop and fall. Lowering the back leg gently to the mat. We'll straighten the front leg and square the feet. And so I'm going to reposition the camera and show you what this looks like on the wall. Alright, y'all, so we're going to try half moon at the wall. And I'm not pressed up against the wall here. I'm maybe 4 or 5 inches away from the wall. My butt is not touching the wall. There's about a fist width between my butt and the wall. And I'm going to do my left side because that's the side I didn't do. And now I've got to worry about kicking the palm tree again. So from here, coming to my wide leg stance, spinning left foot open, pressing down through the ball mound of the foot, lifting the inner left thigh up into the hip point, reaching as far off to the left as I can. Hand comes down, starting in triangle. And then as you're feeling ready, you begin to bend into the left knee. And here, as I lunge forward, my left hip is barely touching the wall. But at least I know I'm not going to fall backwards. And so that gives me a little bit of extra stability as you're ready. Gently lowering down, I did much better that time, and coming back up. And so maybe you want to try putting that all together. Starting off in your Warrior 2, right? Reversing, coming down to triangle, and then maybe stepping up into half moon. And I'm not going to do that because the palm tree's there. Anyway, y'all, thank you so much for participating in this yoga challenge, for watching this video and supporting me here on Patreon. I love y'all so much, and I will see you soon.